now and then. But there are ways that you can always accommodate this. And that is why even when you finish training teachers, there is also in-service, which has a kind of a short-term arrangements where you can now use what currently is the society. But as changes come, there are ways of also accommodating that in the training of the teachers, either at the pre-level or at the in-service level. But as it stands today, the digital technology that has changed everything, teachers, both in the training at the pre-level, the pre-service level and in-service level, a lot is being done to accommodate the training such that the teachers will be able to match what the society really needs at this point in time. Like the registrar talked about it. Because if you do not give the teachers a kind of upskilling, retooling, then it then means that at the end of the day, that the students will know more than the teachers, or the pupils will know more than the teachers. Yeah. But there are a lot of measures that are put in place.
All right. Professor Ajiboye, let's get your closing thoughts, and very briefly. What? How do you factor in the rural-urban dichotomy in the ICT age, particularly for us in Nigeria?
Well, thank you very much. Yes, I think we are all on the same page, looking forward to that teacher that will be able to transform our education system and making the teacher to be at the center of the transformation of education in our country. Yes, the lessons learned from post-COVID is that, look, you cannot rely on both online materials alone for the teachers and the learners, that some of these materials will have to be put also in hard copies and to be put offline mode. And that's part of the thing that we are trying to do. Most of the things that we have developed online, technologies that have been put for the teachers to be able to teach online and other things like that. We have also been able to develop the offline mode part of it, so that the teachers will be able to, the teachers in the rural areas. Yes, because it's a big challenge. What you raise is a big challenge. If you look at Nigeria, 62% of the citizenry actually have access to the internet. 62% of Nigerians, of the population, have access to the internet. And this 62%, if you look at it, more than 90% of them are located in the urban areas. So we recognize that there is a digital gap, a divide between what is happening in the urban areas and the rural areas. And that's why most of the things that we have developed them both, that they can be used both online and offline, so that our teachers in the rural areas will be able to access some of these. Yes, we have developed two major platforms at the national level, Federal Ministry of Education level, what you call Inspire. Inspire is for the learners, and then the other platform that was developed is for the teachers. These two platforms, we have been able to put them both online and offline mode, so that our learners and teachers in the rural areas will be able to access them. That's the kind of thing that we have learned from COVID-19, because we discovered that, look, we cannot just rely on the online and the use of internet and other things like that, because when you get to the rural areas, you may not be able to access them. So it's a big thing. We have recognized that at the level of the Federal Ministry of Education, and that's why most of our activities, when we do training for teachers, we do some of these trainings, we provide both the online platform of it and the offline platform of it, so that they can be able to access some of this material. It's a big challenge. Yes, we recognize that, because even if you are talking of 21st century teaching, everything cannot go online. Not everything can go online, especially when you are talking of a country like ours. And that's why it's not only in Nigeria, yes, the whole of Africa. The whole of Africa is still a big challenge. When COVID came, whereas the rest of the world was able to carry on in their classrooms, they gave even the children tabs and other things. We were not able to do that in the continent, and it was a big challenge, especially when we look at. So what we are trying to do in Nigeria is to be able to make sure that we make our teachers to both they be able to handle both online and offline fashion of it, and be able to help our learners. But believe you me, the focus of this year's theme, which makes the teacher to be at the center of the transformation, is a big thing. It's a big joy to us as teachers, because we now know that, look, various interventions that will come, budgetary intervention that will come from government, both at the federal and the state level, will now begin to prioritize the issue of the teachers. Because that is the critical thing. How do we prioritize the welfare of the teachers? How do we prioritize the training of the teachers to make sure, because the quality of education of any nation is determined by the quality of the teachers. Yes. And that is the reality. That is the reality. And that is what we want our governments to get. And that is what the theme of this year.
I hope in chasing this, because sometimes we tend to be unidirectional in our country, but saying that put the teacher at the center of transforming education. It is not just a teacher as a teacher, but also his job environment. Because that job environment will include the kind of structures you have. If the roof is leaking and in rainy season, you can't function. The job environment will also include the facilities that you have to work. Precisely. Yes. If you are saying teaching, that the next thing will just be, say teacher, give them 100,000 per month. And then, but we'll give you 100,000. Why are you still complaining?
Let them give us that. First, start with that 100,000. Let them give us that one.
That would be a great one.
That's right. No, that would be a better way of starting. You know?
but they have to be qualified to earn 100,000.
No, you know, we are talking of qualified teachers.
Yes.
And it's not only to be a graduate of any institute, but even you must be a registered, certified, and licensed teacher.
In addition to that, we are not saying that there are no other areas that has to do with this transformation, but it has to start with a teacher. That's why we started from here, and that's what the prof started with. Once the teacher is
people want to argue. I mean, I'm sorry to interrupt. Look, was it not always the case that the teacher was at the center of learning?
Let me tell you the truth. No. The majority is about the philosophy of some of those who are leading. Let me tell you the truth. Some people believe just build infrastructure. You will see we have alluded to it here. Some states go there, they have beautiful classrooms and they have not employed teachers.
Those are contracts.
That's what we are saying. So, but now we are now trying to change the to say that let us put the teacher at the center. Okay. of that development and transformation focus.
Yeah. And let us also make the states and the local governments understand the fact that it is the teacher and not the structure. Not the ones by the roadside as you're passing.
You know what my people said? The child you fail to train will sell the house that you are. Yes, we said so if you build beautiful houses, classrooms, and everything, and you do not have quality teachers, believe me, you will not be able to achieve it. So that's why the theme for this year is saying that yes, let us reiterate ourselves. It's not enough of yes, we have been doing this infrastructure for school development, for this, for that. Let us focus this year on our teachers and let us see how we are going to reposition. Look, the education system of these developed countries are driven by the teachers. Go to Finland, which is the highest achieving country in terms of education. It's the quality of their teachers. Yes. Go to Finland. Go to all these other developed countries. Okay? So
the philosophy of education in those countries also matters. The philosophy.
Yes.
Is the philosophy.
Do you know we have philosophy of education in Nigeria?
We do.
We have the policy. We have everything. But where we are saying is that in the area of implementation, as we are focusing on all those other glamorous areas, please let us not neglect the one that will drive the whole thing, and that is the teacher.
Okay, thank you so much, Professor Josiah. Of course, you have the Teachers' Days today.
Yes.
At least there's an event any moment from now.
Oh, yes.
Better we let you go so that we now continue so that you can catch up with that too. Thank you. You want to say something?
Yes,
can you do that in 30 seconds?
Yes, I can do that.
Please.
States, local government, they should also employ teachers. A lot of teachers are being produced, not employed, especially the NCE teachers, because the minimum teaching qualification in the national policy is this NCE. But so many of these teachers are not being employed. Many of these are producers. So they say should just carry on.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
NCE used to be level 7 in those days. Is this still level 7?
Yeah, but it's 7, but the government is taking off.
The president, they will now be starting on
8.
That's
why GS will not
that's a good one.
They starting on 9.
The teachers have everything going.
They have everything going. You want the public to understand. Yes. You want the public to understand that the government is doing a lot.
It's all right. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Professor Josiah.
But it's curious that Sokoto and Zamfara are the ones that have killed interest before other states.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
It's just a point of curiosity, but that's for another day. But also another
Thank you.
I hope the remaining states follow suit, and then we move on. Thank you so much, Josiah. Of course, Josiah is a registrar, Chief Executive Officer, Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria. Professor Paulinus Chijoke Okwale, Executive Secretary, National Commission for Colleges of Education. It's our pleasure too.
Thank you.
And them also gratitude goes to our comrade here. We hope you sit up and then follow up this president's approval and then see what you can get out of it. It's our pleasure. Stephen Nabai, Chairman, Nigerian Union of Teachers, NUT FCT. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir.
We'll take a break down, and then after the break, we come back and continue with our second topic of the day. That's talking about the flood in Lokoja. Stay with us.
The hero of Nigeria's democracy has arrived. He shall usher us into a new phase of development, peace, and prosperity. He is the father of the new Nigeria, His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR. Welcome to another season of giving Nigerians hope yet again. We are sure of a great future for both ourselves and generations yet unborn. We look forward to your leading us as a nation into our manifest destiny. Though the challenges against us as a people are many, we know that your leadership shall set us on the right path to our greatness. A new dawn beckons on us all, and having you as our president is a precursor to this. Thank you for believing in Nigeria. This message is from the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA.
Since coming into office in 2015, the Buhari administration has recorded unprecedented achievements in all sectors, especially in the provision of infrastructure, which is the key to economic growth. Never in the history of this country has any administration done so much with so little. Recall that when this administration came into office, the price of crude oil, which provides for 80% of Nigeria's budgetary revenues and 95% of foreign exchange, dropped drastically, thus reducing the amount of resources available to the federal government. In spite of this, the administration has continued apace with massive infrastructure development.
This message is from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Nigerians, elections are here again. Let us shun violence. Let us play the game according to the rules. Do not be a thug. Say no to violence. Let's rise and defeat violence, crime, and sabotage against the peace of our nation. Nigeria is the only country we have. We must do everything to keep it united. We must avoid any act that promotes hate and disintegration. Say no to separatist movement, terrorism, fake news, hate speech, religious bigotry, and any act that tends to divide us as a nation. Watch out for strange gatherings and suspicious movements. Restrict access to sensitive documents and data, the disclosure of which may damage national security. Educate your staff and family, particularly on measures to safeguard information and report security breaches. Apply relevant legal security guidelines to protect yourself and your neighbors. Due to misinformation and wrong choices, some idle persons resort to vices in their greed to get rich quick. They resort to kidnapping, killings for rituals, and other heinous crimes. Avoid wrong use of the social media. Before you broadcast that false message, think twice. Ask whether it will promote peace or violence. For safety at home, still be security conscious. Educate your household on safety tips. Report all suspicious movements and persons to the security agencies nearest to you. Be a good citizen. Be patriotic. To pass security information, please call 0813-222-2105, 0915-339-1309, 0908-837-3514, or send a mail to dssPR@dss.gov.ng. This message is from the Department of State Services, DSS.
The Council of Our Fathers.
My advice to these young people is please do not take us back to those harrowing days. You probably do not know what it is.
Nigerian youth, let's build our nation
together.
Now, parts of Lokoja, the Kogi State capital, have been submerged in flood waters. The situation best described as catastrophic and has left Nigerian residents in the area, stranded, as well as commuters traveling from the east to the north, northern part of Nigeria, very much stranded, could not go through. Kisle?
That's right. With us here in the studios now to discuss issues around that, we'll welcome Al-Hassan Nuhu, as Director, Relief and Rehabilitation at the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA. Al-Hassan Nuhu, we're glad to have you this morning.
Thank you very much.
And also joining us via Zoom from Lokoja is Francis Udojo, NTA correspondent, of course, our correspondent, I must say. He's standing by for us there to give us an update of the situation. Shall we get started with Francis? Let's just have, that situation report. What's really happening? How bad is the situation? Is Francis up there with us?
Yes, I'm here. Good morning.
Okay, we'll get back to you.
Now, I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
No, we'll get back to you. Don't worry. Just get set. We'll get back to you. Let's come back to the studio here before we sort things out there in Lokoja. Al-Hassan Nuhu, the situation, the flood situation generally is, a very bad one, a very bad story indeed. And of course, it's now reached a stage where Lokoja has been submerged. And look at the strategic location of Lokoja. Look at how important it is as a link between the south of Nigeria and the north. And here we are. What's really happening? Haven't there been so much, warnings and then notifications and things like that about what people should do?
Thank you very much for this opportunity. What we are witnessing this year is comparable only to the floods of 2012 in terms of magnitude, in terms of impact. So far, we have recorded over 300 deaths, and number of people affected has reached up to 1.5 million, with about 700,000 displaced all over the country. The warnings were issued timely, but as I've always repeated, these warnings are released recently, and they keep monitoring. Apart from the seasonal rainfall prediction, apart from the annual flood outlook, they keep monitoring the water levels. But our officers in the Abuja operations office went to Lokoja, went to Kogi on the 22nd of September, when the alerts came that flood is apparent.
It seems like, Alassane, just give me a break here. It seems you've gotten, Francis Udojo, our correspondent in Lokoja. Let's get the, let's have some first-hand information from you, Udojo. What's really happening? How is the situation, running over from yesterday to today? How bad is it, and how do you say it? What would people want to really know about it?
Well, the situation here in Lokoja, the Kogi State capital, is a very bad one. Kogi is in a bad situation right now. A lot of people have been displaced from their homes. Houses have been submerged. Even roads have been cut off as we speak. That of Kogi is the epicenter. And as a result, a lot of people moving from the south to the north, and then from the north to the south, are held down, finding it very, very difficult to get through the access. So that is the situation here, and not just in Lokoja alone. Kogi State generally, some local governments like Ida, Igala Mela, to Ibaji, all been flooded with the people there stranded and not knowing where they were to.
Are you talking about the situation at the moment? Still, the flood has not really receded for, vehicles and movements to be, done by people?
Well, this is how the situation has been since the past 1 week or 2 weeks now, and it's still increasing. People are finding it very difficult to get through to their destinations. Just as you can see, roads have been taken off, and the alternative routes, and that is also very difficult. The alternative routes are not good enough for vehicles.
Well, Francis, if you recall, 10 years ago, there was the major flood disaster around the Lokoja axis, of course, along with some other parts of Kogi State. How does this compare to the 2012 incident?
Well, from what we've seen here and information that's relevant states, it shows that this very flood of this year supersedes that of 2012. It's not well. The damage effect, the impact is massive this year compared to 2012.
Okay, now but let's get something clear. I mean, the arterial road from north to south and south to north around the Murtala Muhammad Bridge in Lokoja there, is the bridge submerged?
Well, the bridge has not been submerged yet, but as soon as you get off the bridge towards the Tonkarifi area, the road has been flooded. Okay. And unfortunately, vehicular movement is tough. People cannot really see the margins of the road, and then to be able to navigate effectively. So they needed the help of security agencies to guide them through. And this takes a whole lot of time as they are trying to move vehicles from people coming from Abuja area down to Lokoja. They will have to stop and then allow others to move from the other side. Just like that, they're all taking turns to move, and that caused a lot of delay in the area.
Did this come as a surprise? Did this come as a surprise to Kogi State residents? Or if there was any...
Of course, it has...
Go ahead, Francis.
Of course, it's a big surprise. Of course, it's a big surprise to Kogi State residents right now, because they have never experienced such situation before. This is the first time that it's coming this way. It's a very difficult situation for them right now. They have never experienced things like this before, and they are stranded. They are hungry. They have no place to go. Some are sick on the road there, and there is no hospital to take care of them. Some have slept there for more than 2 to 3 days before getting to the point where they will have to navigate. It's a very serious situation that government needs to take a look at.
Francis, before we come back to the studio, let's get your views about the state government's reaction to this. Talking about SEMA, their state emergency management agency, and some other emergency management agencies that could assist in that regard, even security agencies too. How are they responding to this? Talking about the ones who say spent 2-3 days in that area, and of course those who are displaced, and of course those who are sick, the young ones, the children, the elderly, and people like that who are really vulnerable to this kind of situation. How is the response from the State Emergency Management Agency, the state government generally, and of course some other agencies that could assist?
Well, one of the major agencies that have responded is that of Hyperdeck. They have really tried to see how they can get to victims by bringing succor, relief materials to these victims. So they are helpful. Apart from that, we've not seen any other organization actually coming down here to assist victims or seeing government officials going around trying to see how they can help people. We have not seen much of that. But for Hyperdeck, I believe they have really been trying here.
Okay, Francis, thank you very much. Al Hassan, let's return to you and have an indication of how NEMA is mobilizing to Kogi. I don't know that a couple of weeks ago, there were reports already of some fatalities arising from the flooding around Makurdi, and this was because they said the River Benue itself was already swollen. So what is happening in Lokoja now wasn't probably unexpected. And I imagine that those who are down the river, those in Anambra State, parts of Edo Delta, those of them down the river and the estuaries, should be getting ready for their own heat. But what has happened to those around Makurdi, and then now that you're having this log jam, as it were, in Kogi State?
Well, when the water level reach a dangerous point, the DG summoned stakeholders here at the strategic level and issued a statement urging.
Okay, we will have to interject again because our correspondent, we understand, has something else, and for us to clear with him. Francis Udojo, let's get back to you on this. In the immediate vicinity of this flooding disaster, what do we know about rescue or salvage efforts? I hope that there have been no fatalities. How are people being evacuated from the flood waters?
Can you come up with your question again? Can you come up with your question again?
Around the flood plains where you are having this disaster, how are people being evacuated or being taken out of the point of disaster? I just hope that there are no fatalities. How are they? What is the point of resettlement in the meantime?
From what we've seen so far, I think individuals on their own find a way of getting themselves out of the situation, moving to relatives, moving to friends' houses, and then maybe traveling out from the state to get a place of abode. However, set some victims and pledge to find a way to give out to
What Francis, just one last one before we take on Al Hassan Nuhu again. All right, Francis, we understand there is a freeze on your system. Well, not about here we are again. I didn't quite get the explanation that our colleague was providing in terms of temporary relief for those who have been impacted in the floodplains and elsewhere. Al Hassan asked the question earlier about Makurdi, where they took the first hit, the major hit, and now in Lokoja, Kogi State. Just give us a lowdown. I know the statement has been issued, but in terms of salvage or rescue,
when it became apparent that the local reservoirs are saturated already and water is coming from Lagbodam, Cameroon, we identify the frontline states and notify them that what is of paramount importance now is to identify higher ground and evacuate to safety. We dispatch our officers to Kogi on the 22nd of September. They met with NIWA, with the lead agency in terms of flood rescue, that is fire service, and the state SEMA. They later on met with the deputy governor and told him the outcome of that assessment and the need to evacuate to safety. In Kogi State, there are 9 local governments that are within the banks of the rivers and its tributaries, and they are all flooded. What we did was to urge for people to evacuate. There is even and an IDP settlement center in Kogi. But people don't want to evacuate. As for in the area of providing suko, our materials have arrived Lokoja. They are to be distributed to people in need in those affected areas. We have dispatched food and non-food items for now. Later, we give building materials when there is a need for people to start going back to their houses. What is paramount important now is to provide food and non-food items and water, and we've dispatched our water purifying machine to Lokoja, because one of the aftermath of flood is cholera, because people will have contaminated water to drink, and that's what is happening in Maiduguri, in Gombe, in all the other places. So as a matter of urgency, what is needed is food, basic necessities like blankets, mattresses, nylon mats, and then potable drinking water. And we've deployed all these materials to Kogi State.
What happened to Benue, Makurdi?
It's the same scenario. We have dispatched our items all over the 36 states of the Federation, because we know that this water, now the epicenter will move from the north to the south, and we are all over the place providing succor to those.
Finally, as it is at the moment, we saw this coming even from your side there, Black Dam, for instance, and we saw it also moving down to Makurdi. We also saw it coming down to Lokoja, and we can still see it now going down, all right? And all this while, you know, the question people will keep asking is, what other measures have been taken, especially now, for now? Yesterday is already gone. Especially for now, for those, for next frontline states down the south. That's the situation at the moment.
The very first thing is to evacuate safety, then provide.
For instance, Lokoja has not been evacuated because a lot of people have not moved out. What are we talking about? People in Delta and some other, places now. How far have we gone in trying to address that issue there before it reaches them?
Well, you see, what we need to understand, to evacuate, the decision to evacuate is largely a local prerogative. You cannot, from Abuja, go to the local level and
force it. It's a state issue now.
It's a state issue.
Okay,
but we have a responsibility to guide them,
at least
to support them,
you have done that.
And we have done that.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much, Alasan, who Director Relief and Rehabilitation National Emergency Management Agency.
Thank you very much.
It's our pleasure. We've been talking to him about the Kogi disaster, the flood disaster, and of course, there's some other issues related to that. And we also had our correspondent in Lokoja, Udoje there, Francis, who gave us that. That's Good Morning Nigeria. We thank you so much for watching. Tomorrow is going to be another day for the program. Do join us there.
I'm Kingsley Osadola saying have a nice day.
NTA, you can't beat the rich. This is the network service of the NTA.
Our elders say, worries hurt and make a person waste more than sickness does. Do you doubt that? Put in modern terms, worries would lead to a lot of things. Things that do not need to be in the body. And even the doctors have come to say that worries, high anxiety and so on can lead to things like headaches, heart conditions, just to mention but a few. And if worries, anxiety are not properly treated, what next? They could lead to depression. They could lead to anxiety. And our elders from way back have already said these particular things that the doctors have come to know. And they have said, he who swims in worry drowns in sickness. You hear that? He who swims in worries drowns in sickness. But come on, am I saying that a lot of the things we worry about are not worth worrying about? No, that's not what I'm saying. Because all those things we worry about actually are very, very important things. We're talking about things like our health, maybe school fees, house rent, single people want to get married, the married ones, some of them want to leave their marriage, you name it. So you see, each person has a very, very legal ground to continue to worry about anything they've come to worry about. But there is a Hebrew proverb that says, anxiety breaks a man's backbone. Yes, it does. It makes the heart sick, makes you see things that do not even exist. And the Swedish people will tell you that worry gives a small thing a big shadow. And funny enough, I've come to realize something that Mark Twain said a very long time ago to be very correct, and I'll be quoting him right now. He said, I have had a lot of worries in my life, most of which never happened. So you think about it. A lot of the things that we worry about, our elders have come to say, may never actually happen. But we have pressure everywhere. And so sometimes you find very young people dropping down, just dying like that. Basically, some of those things are triggered by anxiety. Is it worth it? Is it worth dying over? For our elders have come to say again, it is he who frowns that carries a tired, heavy face about. It is true. It is the wisdom of our elders to advise us that we should take it easy. We worry about material things. We want to make it. We want to blow. But remember, when it does happen, you're not going to sleep in more than one small corner in that house or one small corner on your bed. So think about it. For our elders have said, we can never carry the world out of the world when we die. So, our thought for the week. Let's make it a challenge. Think about everything you've worried about. If you can remember all of them, maybe pick one or two. Write them down. And also write by it how those matters eventually got resolved. And then add, did the things you worry about those things actually happen? Think about it, my friend, because worry is like a war that is going on in the heart, in the mind. Now that we know that it kills, let us try. For our elders have said, the war a man has known something about cannot take the life of his child. Take care of yourselves, my friends. My name is Cordelia Obey. Bye-bye.
Hello, and how are you? It's a question I love to ask quite regularly because it's imperative. A lot of things are happening around us. Some people are born, some people are also dying, some people are also getting sick. Some people are also deliberately causing problems within themselves. And what do I mean? When the body is controlled by certain neurons and factors naturally given to us by God, we decide on our own to distort it, make things work the other way around. It could be intentional, it could be unintentional. But when you ingest substances that are not designed for your being the way you put them, it definitely causes problem. What am I talking about? It is drug abuse. It's on the increase, and this year 2022 it is a campaign in NTA. We have all agreed that it must be stamped out, and of course we work hand in hand with the powers, the authorities, to ensure that we redress the society, redirect the society the way it is. My name is Elizabeth, and this is a topic I want to enjoin all members of a society, family, father, mother, children, to get closer and speak with us. The show is always open for you to send in your questions, your suggestions, and of course we have someone representing the voice of your authority. He will introduce himself by himself, but let me start with the lady in yellow. Introduction.
My name is Jara Panachi. It's always good to be on Conversations.
All right.
My name is Deva Hamati, your mom, and it's good to be here this morning.
Okay.
And my name, as the only man in their midst, my name is Femi Babafemi. I'm the Director of Media and Advocacy at the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NTA. It's my pleasure being with you on the conversation this morning.
It's our pleasure, really, but I want to start by asking you to relax. The women here don't bite.
They're just intimidating.
You're trying to hold yourself.
I walked in to see 3 women, only me in their midst.
All right, so don't worry, we're going to relax you. Because what we're sitting down here as mothers, makers of homes, for you to educate us, and of course we represent other women at home, for you to educate us on what we can do to ensure that we keep the society in the right direction. But to prep your mind, my winning team as usual did something quite exceptional. Let's say it is a drama skit.
Hey, doctor. Madam, good day. Good day. I'm not supposed to see you until the next 2 weeks for your pelvic assessment. What are you doing here today?
Doctor, you did correct. Now, madam, not saying I can't see you today. Say you need checking.
Okay, all right. Let me just quickly check here. Okay. So. Madam, you look very pale. Are you sure you've been eating well?
Doctor, I did eat well. In fact, I did eat pounded yam. I did eat eba. I did eat fried yam and egg. I did eat well, doctor.
How about sleeping? Do you sleep well?
Sleep? I did sleep well, doctor. Plenty hours.
Okay, sleep well. Okay, let me just have a look. Let me just check you. Okay. Madam, from the look of things, your pregnancy doesn't seem alright because if I'm not mistaken, you are 28 weeks old. Yes. But you're looking like 5 months. There's something wrong. You're not where you're supposed to be. What's the problem? So what's your husband?
Doctor, sorry, hi. This is my husband, Manta. I know you like hearing name, but I just need to answer him. Doctor, you see, that's my husband. Now God will judge us. I live up for God. Me, I just want to carry my belly. But now, finish.
Okay. Yes. Apart from that, do you take alcohol. As my husband, they stress me so. Sometimes I go wake up morning till night, I go dey think. Now my friend come advise me say the time where she thinks they bother her, she dey take weed, she dey take codeine and retinol. So she come advise me say, you see that codeine? She say if I mix am inside yogurt in the morning, when I wake up when my head no dey straight, make I just mix codeine inside yogurt, Hollandia, drink am. So it go make me calm. Madam, what is it? Wait, what is it that you say you take again?
Well, I say na codeine. When I mix inside yogurt, it dey make my leg and dey relax well. Then read and.
Don't you know that you're endangering your life? And your baby's life as well?
Doctor, I don't know. Doctor say I know. I don't take am.
Like, it means you've not been attending your antenatal class.
I dey attend am.
Because you're not supposed to be doing this. It's very dangerous. Because it's stillbirth. Yes. So many complications. From the look of things, we need to conduct an emergency operation to save your life and that of your babies. So, right now, you need to call your husband. Your husband needs to be here.
Doctor,
Calm down.
Doctor, please help me.
It's for your good, man.
Calm down. Doctor,
Fine.
help me, doctor. Doctor, please.
Calm down.
Doctor, help me.
All you need to do now is just try and be strong.
Doctor,
please. Situation on ground, and then we'll conduct this
Doctor,
operation. Fine, it's for your good and for the life of your baby.
I don't put myself inside, doctor. Is it not that way? Doctor, please help me. My husband no go pick home. I know they talk, but I don't care. So why I need to take out my pikin?
It's for your own good, madam.
Send me go take God. No, you send me go take me. It doesn't I know. God, help me.
Just call me. That's what you need to do now. Just call me. You'll be fine, madam. Just calm down.
That's caught me. It's actually a real life story reenacted. And it's sad. It's sad because I don't know. I don't want to go into this, but it's sad to see our women, our mothers, really going into this. What's happening? I don't know, Joy. What's happening?
It's I think times have changed. Society has taken over us. These are life stories. I interact with so many people, and you know, when people joke, when people play, that's when they tell you they're through what's happening to them. And like what we just watched, it's people think that when you take these drugs, by the time you wake up, all the worries and all the troubles are gone. But what people don't know, that it's just a phase. You have to keep taking the drugs because you think that's what's going to solve the issue. And people don't really talk to people. People bottle a lot. So when you bottle too much inside, you now find out that what you think is going to help you is when you keep taking the drug. Okay, it will get better, it will get better, it will get better. Most of the times now, I think many people should try and go see a shrink. It's very, very important. Some people will say, who is a shrink? It's a doctor. Because many people don't know that drug abuse is a sickness. It's a disease. Because people think that it's only when you have those normal things that you think that is a sickness. But right now, for me, the first sickness I think many people are going through now is drug abuse.
You know, when you say go see a shrink, or maybe you want to use another terms, a psychiatrist, we don't want to hear that in this side of the world, because we think even outside this climb, it's something designed for they say we shouldn't use the word madness anymore. Mad people,
Yeah.
they're not normal in the head. But the thing is, the body is a constitution of your brain that's in the head right up to your toes. So any part of it that is sick, automatically you are sick. Whether it's your brain that is sick, whether it's your finger that is sick, it's a problem, and we should see the right kind of doctors. I think we should just leave it at doctors.
Okay, doctors. Okay. So next time I'll say doctor.
I don't know what your thoughts. I saw you watching that with Rap's attention. What's your take on it?
Yes, I quite agree with what Okpanachi said. You see, many people, when we talk about drug abuse, the first thing that goes through most people's minds are the hard drugs. But I think that drug abuse is using these, even any medication that you use outside of its intended use, or even if you overdose, you take more than what you're supposed to take, and then you do it so consistently that it becomes a habit, or it becomes such a part of your life that you cannot function without it. It could be any off-the-counter medication. But as long as you're not using it in the intended fashion, for instance, there was one time I was saying here that I used to be so desperately thin that it's say one man's meat, another man's poison. So you find people trying to lose weight, and then me and one or two other friends were desperately trying to gain weight, because there was a point in my life when literally nothing would make me gain weight, and I wasn't the only person that had that problem. So I had a friend who was similarly built. In fact, we have the same complexion. People who don't know us very well tended to mistake us, and we're always together, and we're both equally very thin. So I recall one time she said, I saw her, she had, put on a few pounds, or let me say kilos. She was looking nicer and everything. So I was like, you're lucky, you've started. She said, no. She now mentioned one medication, regular medicine, that she takes it.
She was overdosing on it.
No, she wasn't overdosing on it, but because she wasn't sick with what that medication was intended to treat, she would take it, and it would cause her appetite to go through the roof. So she would eat like a hog, and then once she was done eating, the only thing she could do was sleep. So that combination, that binge eating and then sleeping, binge eating and sleeping, after a few months she gained weight. And she sold the idea to me, and I was like, cool.
This is cool.
It's not a bad idea.
Did you take it?
Wait, now I'm going. So I got up with my techere self and went to, I think I was serving that time, so it's been a while. I'll just go ahead and mention their name, Tonya Pharmacy. And I think the madam herself was around that day. So I confidently walked in and told them I wanted to buy that medication. She said, she now blindsided me. She said, why are you buying it? And I couldn't say anything meaningful. She said, where is your prescription? I didn't have it. Yeah, who are you buying it for? I'm buying it for myself. She said, see, sit down. I sat down. She said, this drug you are buying, I see you are trying to gain weight. This drug you are buying is meant to treat a heart condition. The side effect is what makes people eat a lot of food and sleep. So you're either trying to gain weight or you're struggling with insomnia and you think you take this thing and sleep. So I'm not going to sell it to you. I said, thank you, man, and I left.
Lucky you.
And so that's how I ended up not using that. And I don't even know if my friend who was using it at the time, if she knew that it was actually medication that was meant to treat a heart condition.
No, she didn't.
Because she'd take it once a day, eat herself silly, and then be knocked out because she wanted to gain weight. So that is also drug abuse.
Sometimes we actually know, and we just play mum to the effects it may have, provided we get our desired result. But speaking of which, I recall when I went to a clinic, I had a pain in the leg, and the doctor gave me, I called him tramadol, and I didn't know what it was. I had never taken it before, and I took it. I felt good in the leg, so to speak. But I am one person that usually like to be in charge of myself. But I found out I wasn't in charge. I needed to drink water. Water was given to me. It was in my hand. I didn't know when the glass fell down and it broke.
Jesus.
I wanted to go to work. I found out that I couldn't get up to bath. I was just useless. So I didn't know what happened. So my mind said, speak with the doctor. I took the phone and called the doctor. I said, see what I'm experiencing. Yeah. And he said, the pain in the leg, is it gone? I said, I don't even know if there's pain there. It's kind of numb. I don't notice anything. But I'm not in charge of myself, and I don't like it. So he says, okay, drop that. He said, instead of taking 2, take 1 in the morning, 1 in the night. I said, is it connected to this medicine? He said, yes. You know what I did? I didn't do the 1 a day, 1 in the morning, I took the whole lot and flushed it into the toilet. Because anything that will make me lose control, I don't want to be part of it. But then, speaking of which, recently I read in the news, you were telling us how you caught up with some billionaires, and with the same drug I already mentioned. And I kept saying, I pity this man, your job is hard. And I remember I mentioned that to you yesterday, your job is hard. You want to share your experiences with substance abuse in Nigeria? Are we going up or going down? Some people think it's because we're creating more awareness. Others seem to think that there's more people going into it. Which is your position?
Thank you. Let me start by saying I cannot agree less with Okpanachi and Divan. Their views and their comments, they're absolutely on point. Now, if we have to talk about where we are on drug abuse in the country, they have narrated practical experiences, and now going to statistics. The outcome of the 2018 National Drug Survey actually gives us a very valid point paints a very grim picture of exactly what our situation was like, and since then there have been moves to correct the situation. And going by that survey, we have 14.3 million Nigerians abusing illicit substances.
14
That's almost 10%, at least 15%.
14.3, and that is not even all. We're talking of those within the age bracket of 15 and 64. And meaning that survey did not capture those under 15. Now these days you have even 8-9-year-old abusing substances, and also did not capture those above 64, where you also have a population of those abusing substances. And that also gives us a 14.4% prevalence rate, which is 3 times the global average of 5.6. Now,
so we're really on the high side.
Absolutely. And if you bring that on the table with the statistics, the results from our operations on the field of let me say in the last 20 months, you would also get a better picture of what the situation is like. In the last 20 months, we've had over 5.4 million kilograms of assorted illicit drugs mopped up from our streets, communities all over. And in addition, we've also had over 19,000 arrests.
19,000
arrests. And from all of this, we should also note one thing: is not everybody that we arrest that will actually end up prosecuting, because there are some at the point of arrest, by the time we profile them, take them to our offices, profile them, we'll segregate them to be sure of those that are really the criminals, those that are that are actually dealing in this, and those that are just users.
Victims.
For those that are victims who are users, we separate them and get them help, get them treatment. And of this figure, we've been able to get 12,326 persons in the last 20 months cancelled and treated. Well, that gives us a fair balance between our drug supply and our drug demand reduction efforts. Beyond all of this, also, it's a fact, something that is in public space at the moment, that just about 2 weeks ago, we had the largest single seizure of cocaine anywhere on the continent. That is huge, and we're glad that the leadership of the agency has been proactive enough to get a court order to destroy that substantial portion of that, while we have some remnants secured for the prosecution of the suspects in court. Now, again, that also leads us to one of our recent cases, that's as recent as last weekend, where we had a seizure of more than 13 million pills of tramadol, the drug you just mentioned now.
Yes.
Now, if you look at all of this, like my takeaway from what Panachi said is the fact that a lot of people engage in these things, especially those whose reasons border on socio-economic factors. They engage in this because they think they can get away from their troubles, their challenges, some lack of jobs, some poverty, some even marital issues, challenges, all of that. But then we do tell them, yeah, as valid, so to say, as their reasons may be, but then we do tell them, by the time the drugs wear out, does the problem go away? It's coming back right in front of
in
you.
fact, it's doubling up because your time for solution.
You have lost the time. Yes. Now beyond that, again, you are adding another problem.
Yes.
Because the effect of that drug is there in your body. Gradually, as you get to take it, you are either damaging one part of your organ or the other. Because they are not meant, for instance, for prescription drugs, like Livia said, people take these things outside of prescription, even some beyond the dosage and some others beyond the duration, the prescribed period. So they continue to live on it. Like we have somebody who is now an advocate. She she depended on drug for a long time. Her own case started from, she's actually a professional nurse, a trained nurse. She had an ectopic pregnancy, and so she was placed on pentosazine injection, and because she's a nurse, so she felt rather than going to the hospital to be taking the injection, so she could administer it on herself. And from that, she started enjoying the thing, and before she knew it, she got addicted. Till today, the scars are all over her. She's still recovering. That is, and unfortunately, by the time she knew she had a big problem on her hands, she reported herself to her medical director, who again, instead of getting her help, decided to fire her.
Oh no!
Now that's another leg of it. Rather than solving a situation,
you doubled it.
Her situation became complicated, and now she compounded what she was taking before, added some others to be able to cope with that mental challenge, and so. It's something she's been dealing with over the years, and so all of these we have out there, people, and we always say, please, it's better you don't do it, because prevention is like they say out there, is the best cure. Don't even go near it, because the moment you fall within the bracket to come out, I tell you, those who are having these challenges in their families, they know, they feel it, they know it. And for those of us who are who are face to face, who are dealing, who are relating with them every day, we feel it, we understand it more than virtually everybody out there, because people are going through pain. And for families who are paying at rehab homes, now an average standard rehab home in Abuja costs between 1 to 2 million a month. Now imagine how many homes can afford that.
Is that much?
Yeah. How many families can afford that? And it's not a guarantee that after you do that for 6 months, when he comes out, or when the person comes out, there is no guarantee that he won't relapse again. That is the fear of most parents or most people at the moment. That okay, because there are people that have been in and out 5, 6, 10 times. So just imagine what that's why the leadership of the agency at the moment, we give it to General Ma honestly, because he's very much concerned, he's very much passionate, he's very much committed to this fight. And that's why you're seeing us going beyond the moves on the street. going to the sources, the big cartels, the drug dealers themselves.
Yes.
Because these are the people who have the resources to bring these things in and push them to our communities. So that's why he's going after all of them, and may God continue to preserve him. Leading the agency to go after them, because the moment we're removing them from the equation, then we're getting down to breaking the supply side of it.
You know, there was something you said. There are a whole lot of follow-ups for me, but I want to pick up on what you said about over 12,000 people treated.
Yeah, 12,326.
Okay, treated. I'd like to know, is your agency doing a sort of follow-up? Because it's one thing for you to treat me and then I go away, and then the same situation is out there.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's socio-economic, I don't know.
Yeah, yes, absolutely valid question. And now, that's why I said the issue of relapse. I've told you that some people have been in and out of rehab 5, 6, 10 times. It's a continual process for them, because that's why we always say the better is best. The best thing is don't go into it, because when you go into it, you can't tell. And so we also try as much as, that's why we're working with the state governments for those whose triggers are socio-economic issues. We're working with the state government through our War Against Drug Abuse initiative, trying to get the buy-in, and we're glad that the state governments are getting involved in this now. A number of the governors are making their wives, following our own suggestion recommendations, their wives as the chairperson of the state drug control committees. And that's why recently, in partnership with the United Nations Office on Drug and Crime, UNODC, we gathered all the wives of the governors across the country in Abuja here to put them through a 2-day training workshop on drug prevention, treatment and care, DPTC, so as to get them to understand the situation really, and a lot of them are well seized of this situation. And but beyond that, they also need to work with their husbands to do certain things at their state level to ensure that we cascade all of those to the grassroots, to the communities. And one of the issues is addressing some of the socio-economic issues, lack of jobs, quite all of these things. We're trying to ensure that, so that these people, even those that are getting help, when they get treated, they don't go back to the same environment that actually pushed them into it. And so we're glad that we're getting response. Quite a lot of the state governments are launching the state drug control committees, which will work with our commands across the state to ensure that all these issues are properly and well addressed.
You know, when you talk about environment, my mind went straight up to stigmatization after visiting such places. But I'll let you take a breather and we'll get back to you to talk more on that. I recall behind the camera, Joe, you were telling me about palm wine and...
yes. You know, we're very comfortable going to places and asking for stuff to take, and I realized that there's some times when you want to take stuff and they say they have names, and for people like us who don't know the names because we're not into alcohol and other stuff, they will tell you, because I just came back from a reunion and they said giddy giddy, you know, I don't know what giddy giddy is. Yeah, it was palm wine.
Giddy giddy is palm wine.
No, it was palm wine.
They're street names.
They're street names. So if you're not on the street, you don't know all this stuff. So when we're in the bus and they say, okay, this is giddy giddy, this is it, this is that. So there were some lame people like me there, women, who now wanted it. So I just said, please ask them what is inside this giddy giddy.
Very good.
For them to change the name.
No, when they said giddy giddy and they saw palm wine, so they thought the guy was just playing pranks. But because I've had experiences of, you know, you going somewhere asking for palm wine, then when it was time to drive, I noticed I was dizzy.
Oh.
You see, that's why I always say life experiences teach you how to handle such situations, because I had that experience and I don't take alcohol, so I was wondering, why was I dizzy? So what I now did was to take a lot of water, but in as much as I took the water, I knew that I couldn't drive. So I called an Uber, and because the owner of that place is a friend, so I said, I beg, don't be angry. I took palm wine, and this was my reaction. He said, oh, I should have taken the other palm wine. I said, but how would I know what difference this is? I take palm wine in the village, but I wanted to take palm wine here. And you see, so many people like me, many people are going through this kind of stuff. So I just advise people, instead of taking palm wine or anything, if you want to take water and stay safe. And you know, like he was saying, if these things are not selling, if people are not patronizing them, then it will not be in the market. And one thing I have learned is that they say weed, instead of you taking drugs, you know, to get better, that the minute you take weed, it gingers, you know, your whole system, all your body arranges to pump.
So weed takes care of malaria?
I don't know. You see, the thing here is that, and I'm telling you, you see, the people who tell me, I am sad because they're elites. They're people that I expect that they went to school, they have this. So if the elites are doing this stuff, what of the people who don't even have the privilege to know better? So like I always say, when people say, okay, you have headache, okay, take this. What are you taking?
What is inside it?
What is it? Even for me, alapuko is a problem. Because so many people take the drink.
What's alapuko?
Alapuko is
the one powder herbal.
It's a sachet. When I was in Lagos, that's where I saw. I don't think it's. They say it's herbal. For me, it's not, because so many people are addicted to alapuko, and most of the time, people who take it, the day they don't take it, they start to shake.
Alapuko, is it like dogoyaro? We know dogoyaro, right?
It's not dogoyaro.
It's a powdery something
Substance.
like pain, fever relief.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
But what I notice is that people take it every day. For you to have something you take every day, for me, is drug abuse.
But
take it or leave it.
there are people who abuse something as basic as Panadol.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, just to add to what she said, there's this well, it's not yet a thing here, but I think that there's some credibility to the thought that yes, has medicinal properties, because I know that I think in the US also they use marijuana for some medical conditions, especially those to do with mental health.
But
it's called medical weed.
It's also at a control.
Yes, at a control
dosage.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that there are medicinal properties to it, but the way it is used, probably also how it is prepared or produced and things like that. The one they give in hospital, I'm sure maybe the strength has been reduced or something, but I know that it's equally used for medicinal for its medicinal properties, so they might not be
but I have something to say to that when
I still need to say this. Talking about ignorance, I know of at least 2 instances where toddlers are being fed hard alcohol by the parents.
Yeah, I've seen some of them on the social media.
Hard alcohol. I have seen a situation where...
I want the children to sleep.
No, you have a good time. I've seen a situation where this child, maybe about the age of 3 or 4, you know, they came visiting, and naturally I offered the basic now, malt, Fanta. No, their son only takes Smirnoff Ice.
Jesus.
That's a parent.
Yes, the man and the wife. So what went through my mind is how did 2 very unintelligent people get together and get married? No, because one person is supposed to temper the other person's silliness.
Yes, I know.
So if the dad, for instance, thinks I give him half a glass of Smirnoff so that he will stop crying or whatever, the mom should be able to say, no, sweetheart, this thing has 22% alcohol or whatever it is. I don't think it's proper for anybody who is not a mature adult. Let's not give him that. Let's look for another way to distract him. No, but I mean, they would proudly tell us that their little boy who was under the age of 5 can drink 2 Smirnoff in a sitting. Who taught that child that? It's the parents, and they're giving the child. It's not like maybe they bought it and kept for visitors.
Energy drinks,
and even energy drinks, and these energy drinks. There's this other one. I'm trying very hard not to name names.
I know.
I remember one time I was still working at NTA. I had worked late into the night, so I went into one of our Oga's offices here. I said, sir, you people I have not been able to eat today. There must be something in your fridge. You know, some of our Ogas here are quite friendly. Is there is only energy drink that's in my fridge? There's nothing there. I said, I had never taken energy drink. I just knew it was not alcoholic. And it was very cold. And I was very hungry and thirsty and everything. It was so cold and nice. So I gobbled it down. This is me that doesn't drink coffee. I gobbled it down, got home almost midnight. I was so alert by 2 a.m. I was so alert. This was me that was leaving the office tired. When I got home, I was so alert. By 2 a.m., I started cleaning the house. No, I'm not even playing. It was so out of character. I actually went and picked the can and started looking for. And then I saw caffeine. How many percent? That doesn't drink coffee. And now, the next day I came to work, I was good. I had so much energy.
So you see,
I was running all over the place.
You'll be interested.
I've never drank it.
No, because you see, this is it. That's what we're saying. If you're ignorant, you said the energy drink. Let me give myself an example. I don't do cough syrup anymore. Why? Because after a while, you have to keep taking cough syrup, and you're taking what do you call it?
Codeine.
You understand the codeine, and it gets into your system. So guess what I take? Bitter cola. Any little thing, bitter cola. When night comes, I go this way, no sleep.